Have you ever found yourself hesitating by the sugar bowl, wondering if those tiny white crystals are doing your health more harm than good at this stage of life? That pause is not uncommon, especially once you pass 70. It can feel like every sweet indulgence comes with a question mark attached. Many older adults find that sugar affects them more significantly than it used to, whether that's a sudden dip in energy after a sweet snack or a more concerning issue like rising blood sugar levels. Cutting back on sugar can sound simple in theory, but in practice it can be quite challenging. You might have memories of fresh-baked cookies from childhood or enjoy sweetening your daily cup of tea for that touch of comfort. So how do you preserve the pleasure of a little sweetness while still prioritizing your health? That's exactly what we're going to explore together. For many seniors, the stakes are high when it comes to sugar consumption. It can exacerbate chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes or heart issues and contribute to weight gain that limits mobility. If you notice yourself running out of breath on short walks or feeling more joint discomfort after carrying grocery bags, it might be partly related to an overall lifestyle that includes too much refined sugar. But here's the good news. You're not powerless in this situation. By choosing more natural sweeteners, you can begin to shift your diet in a way that helps maintain steadier energy levels and supports better health outcomes. This isn't about perfection or never having another slice of birthday cake. It's about exploring alternatives that can help you find balance, enjoyment, and well-being. My background as a holistic wellness coach has shown me that small, strategic changes can add up to significant improvements in how you feel day to day. It's not just about numbers on a scale or blood work results. It's also about feeling more confident in your own body and more capable in your daily routine. Over the next few moments, I'll share 5 natural sweeteners that many seniors over 70 have found helpful in reducing their reliance on refined sugar. We'll look at how each one can offer a softer impact on blood sugar levels, along with other potential benefits like vitamins, minerals, or even antibacterial properties. You'll hear stories of fellow older adults who discovered these alternatives a bit later in life and were pleasantly surprised by how much of a difference small dietary tweaks can make. By the end of our time together, you'll have practical steps for incorporating these sweeteners into everything from your morning coffee to your favorite dessert recipes. Before we dive in, I encourage you to ask yourself a question. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to reducing sugar? Is it the habit of sweetening your beverages? Is it a lifelong sweet tooth that's tough to ignore? Or is it the worry that healthier foods might not taste as satisfying? Keep that question in mind because as we discuss each natural sweetener, you might find that one in particular speaks to your lifestyle and preferences. Let's embark on this journey together and see how even a small pivot in the sweeteners you choose can open the door to better energy, more stable moods, and an overall sense of empowerment regarding your diet. Let's start by looking at a natural sweetener that has been treasured for thousands of years, yet sometimes overlooked in modern times. Local raw honey. Many of us grew up with the idea that honey is practically nature's candy, and while it does contain sugar, there's more to the story. A common assumption is that sugar is sugar, no matter where it comes from, but that leaves out some fascinating nuances. A lot of seniors remain unaware that honey offers nutrients and potential health benefits that regular white sugar simply doesn't provide. Imagine Bernard, who's 75. He used to love sprinkling sugar on his oatmeal each morning. When his doctor mentioned his rising blood sugar levels, Bernard decided to stop using refined sugar cold turkey. He switched to a sugar substitute he found at the supermarket, but he didn't like the chemical aftertaste. He also missed that comforting, natural sweetness he was used to. This is when someone suggested trying a spoonful of local raw honey. Bernard was skeptical. He assumed all sweeteners, even honey, would spike his blood sugar the same way. But over time, he found that his energy levels didn't roller coaster quite as dramatically after breakfast. More importantly, he noticed an unexpected perk: the gentle flavor and the knowledge that he was getting trace amounts of antioxidants and enzymes that raw honey can offer. Of course, honey is still a source of sugar and should be used in moderation. The difference lies in the added benefits that raw honey brings to the table. For older adults dealing with joint discomfort or wanting to support their immune system, Some studies and traditional practices suggest that local honey may help alleviate mild seasonal issues or soothe an irritated throat. It won't cure chronic illnesses, but for many seniors, making that switch from refined sugar to a small spoonful of raw honey can be a gentler choice for the body. From a practical standpoint, try it in a cup of tea or drizzled over yogurt with fresh berries. If you're worried about diabetes or other medical concerns, consider starting with a very small amount and speaking with a healthcare professional about how it fits into your overall diet plan. Emotionally, it feels good to indulge in something nature-made rather than a refined product from a factory. There can be a certain peace of mind in that choice, and if you happen to have local beekeepers in your community, you might find a sense of satisfaction in supporting a small business. For someone like Bernard, this swap allowed him to keep the ritual of a sweet oatmeal breakfast without the guilt or concerns he had around refined sugar. There's a certain sweetness, literally and figuratively, in choosing a product that has been cherished across cultures and generations. Now, you might be thinking that honey is great, but it might not fit everyone's needs, especially if you have tighter control protocols for your blood sugar. So let's transition to something that has gained popularity precisely because it's known for having minimal impact on blood sugar levels. Stevia. A big misconception is that anything labeled a zero-calorie sweetener must be synthetic or comes with a bitter aftertaste. While some artificial sweeteners may taste chemical-like, stevia stands apart because it's derived from the leaves of a plant native to South America. Take the story of Norma, who's 78 and has been managing type 2 diabetes for over a decade. She'd heard all the horror stories about artificial sweeteners, headaches, odd tastes, and so forth. When her granddaughter suggested stevia, Norma was prepared for disappointment. To her surprise, she found that a quality stevia extract, especially one without extra fillers, gave her coffee a pleasant sweetness. She still had to be mindful of the amount. Using too much stevia can lead to a slightly bitter finish. But once she found the right balance, Norma felt she could actually enjoy her sweet morning beverage again. Her blood sugar readings stayed more stable compared to when she used regular sugar, and she noticed she didn't get that mid-morning slump as often. Unlike refined sugar, stevia contains no real calories and has a glycemic index of 0, meaning it won't typically cause sudden spikes in blood glucose levels. For seniors worried about obesity, metabolic syndrome, or just wanting consistent energy throughout the day, this can be a game changer. It's also appealing for those watching their calorie intake as part of a broader weight management strategy that protects mobility. If your goal is to stay active, maybe you love playing pickleball, going for brisk walks, or simply keeping up with your grandchildren, steady energy can make those activities more enjoyable and less tiring. Practical tips for using stevia include starting small and experimenting with different brands. Some stevia products mix in other ingredients to improve flavor or texture, so reading labels is essential. If you find one brand too bitter, try another until you discover the right fit for your taste buds. Some people like to blend stevia with a tiny bit of another natural sweetener for a more rounded flavor. Emotionally, replacing sugar with stevia can feel like a tangible step toward taking control of your health. It's empowering to know that you can still enjoy sweetness in your favorite drinks or baked goods without the same worry about your blood sugar levels spiraling. If you've made it this far, it might help to take a moment to reflect on your own habits. Is there a specific daily ritual, like that mid-afternoon coffee or a bowl of cereal at breakfast, where you rely on sugar out of habit rather than true need? Feel free to share your thoughts with others who might be on the same path. You'll be surprised how much wisdom and support your fellow viewers can offer. Let's move forward to another natural sweetener that's been quietly gaining recognition: monk fruit sweetener. A common assumption is that monk fruit must be an odd or highly processed substance. However, monk fruit, also known as luohan guo, has been used in traditional Chinese practices for centuries. Many seniors aren't aware of its natural origins, assuming anything low-calorie must be artificial. Consider Harold, 73, who decided to try monk fruit sweetener after reading about it in a health magazine. He had a difficult time adjusting to stevia's slight aftertaste and found honey a bit too high in carbohydrates for his blood sugar goals. Monk fruit turned out to be a pleasant surprise. He started stirring it into his morning tea and found that it added a clean, subtle sweetness without any noticeable aftertaste. Over a few weeks, Harold began noticing that he didn't experience the same kind of afternoon energy crashes that he used to when consuming refined sugar. He also appreciated that monk fruit sweetener typically comes with 0 calories and doesn't raise blood sugar, making it easier for him to keep his type 2 diabetes in check. Evidence-based insights suggest that monk fruit contains natural compounds called magrosides, which are responsible for its sweet taste, often much sweeter than sugar, so a little goes a long way. This is good news for seniors who want to reduce sugar intake but still savor a sweet flavor in their diet. If you're concerned about weight management, every bit of calorie reduction can help, especially when combined with balanced meals and some physical activity. While monk fruit might not be a magic bullet for weight loss, it can support broader lifestyle choices that help protect your joints, support heart health, and keep you moving with more ease. On a practical note, monk fruit sweetener often comes blended with other ingredients like erythritol to replicate the texture of sugar. If that's the case, be mindful that some people experience minor digestive discomfort with sugar alcohols like erythritol. It's wise to try small amounts first to see how your body responds. Emotionally, discovering monk fruit sweetener can offer a sense of relief. If you've been trying to reduce sugar but haven't loved the alternatives, finding one that suits your palate can lift your spirits and keep you motivated on your wellness journey. Now, perhaps you're thinking, these 0-calorie sweeteners are interesting, but I still miss something with a richer, more caramel-like flavor. That's where date sugar can come in. A common misconception is that date sugar, made from dried and ground dates, is just as bad as refined sugar, because it's still a form of sugar. It's true that date sugar does contain natural sugars, but the key difference lies in the fiber, vitamins, and minerals that come along with it. This is real fruit that has been dehydrated and ground into a powder. Let's look at Dorothy, who's 77 and lives in a retirement community with a shared kitchen space. Dorothy grew up on homemade cakes and cookies. Once she realized how refined sugar was impacting her arthritis and fluctuating blood sugar levels, she felt forced to give up a beloved hobby, baking. She tried artificial sweeteners in her recipes, but the taste and texture weren't the same, and it discouraged her. When someone suggested date sugar, she gave it a try in her oatmeal cookies. Although the texture was slightly denser, she found a pleasant, natural sweetness that reminded her of molasses or brown sugar. Plus, she noticed she felt more satisfied, likely because the fiber in date sugar slowed down the absorption of the sugars. While date sugar isn't typically calorie-free and can affect blood glucose, the presence of fiber and micronutrients like potassium and magnesium can help moderate the body's response. For seniors who enjoy cooking or baking, it's worth experimenting with date sugar in smaller amounts, particularly in recipes where a slight caramel undertone is welcome, like muffins, banana bread, or oatmeal raisin cookies. It can also be sprinkled over hot cereal or used as a rub in savory dishes. From an emotional perspective, being able to maintain the joy of baking, an activity that might be linked to your sense of tradition, creativity, or even social connection, can have significant benefits for mental well-being. It's an example of how small dietary changes don't have to rob you of life's pleasures, but rather modify them to fit a healthier overall lifestyle. Before we explore our final sweetener, think about your routines that could benefit from a small yet meaningful change. Where in your daily or weekly cooking might you try date sugar, even if it's just replacing half of the refined sugar in a recipe? Sharing these mini experiments with friends or family can foster a supportive environment, and you might inspire someone else to make a healthier choice too. Finally, let's delve into coconut sugar, which is made from the sap of the coconut palm. The assumption many seniors hold is that anything with the word coconut must taste overwhelmingly like coconuts. That often stops them from trying coconut sugar, fearing it will clash with the flavors of their everyday foods. In reality, coconut sugar has a mellow, almost caramel-like taste and doesn't necessarily impart a strong coconut flavor at all. Take Maggie, who's 76 and loves indulging in homemade beverages, everything from a frothy latte to a blended fruit smoothie. She avoided coconut sugar for a long time because she was convinced it would turn every drink into a piña colada. When she finally gave it a go, she was pleasantly surprised that her morning latte had a warm, slightly nutty sweetness that blended right in. Maggie also appreciated that coconut sugar has a lower glycemic index than regular sugar, meaning it can cause a slower, smaller rise in blood glucose. Although it's still sugar, the presence of inulin, fiber, and trace minerals can help moderate its impact. For seniors interested in preserving muscle mass or maintaining flexibility, stable energy can help fuel gentle exercise routines such as yoga, swimming, or strength training with light weights. Every bit of dietary improvement can support you in staying active. From a practical standpoint, coconut sugar is fairly easy to substitute in baked goods and drinks. You can start by using it at a 1-to-1 ratio for white sugar, though you might want to tweak the ratio to your taste. The emotional benefit is the sense of relief that you can still enjoy sweet treats without entirely giving up on flavor or resorting to something artificially manufactured. That shift in mindset, from feeling restricted to feeling resourceful, can do wonders for your motivation to stick with healthier habits in the long run. At this stage, we've explored 5 different ways to add sweetness into your life without relying on traditional white sugar. Each one, local raw honey, stevia, monk fruit sweetener, date sugar, and coconut sugar, brings its own unique taste profile and potential health advantages. The key takeaway? You have choices, and that sense of choice can be incredibly liberating. The path toward better health doesn't have to be paved with bland, joyless meals. Instead, it can be about finding alternatives that serve both your body and your soul. As you reflect on these options, you might feel a newfound sense of optimism. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for your neighbor or your best friend might not be the perfect fit for you. That's why experimentation is so valuable. If you're managing a chronic condition like diabetes, talk to your healthcare provider about how these sweeteners could fit into your meal plan. When in doubt, small steps are the best steps to begin with. Consider swapping out sugar in just one daily habit, maybe your morning coffee or an evening cup of tea, and observe how your body responds. Pay attention not just to numbers like blood glucose or weight, but also to less tangible indicators like energy levels, mood, and motivation. Often seniors find that once they feel the positive ripple effects of even a small shift, it's easier to commit to further improvements. One reason to adopt these natural sweeteners is a future-focused mindset, envisioning yourself strong and active well into your 70s and 80s, or even 90s. Think about how important it is to maintain a lifestyle that supports independence. Sugary spikes and crashes can make it harder to stay consistently active, which in turn can accelerate muscle loss and impact balance. By finding gentler sweeteners, you may protect your capacity to enjoy activities like gardening, dancing, or simply walking around your neighborhood. Plus, being mindful of your sugar intake can be a key factor in weight management, which influences joint health and overall mobility. Another layer of urgency comes from the fact that sugar cravings often intensify over time if left unchecked. The more your palate becomes accustomed to highly sweet foods, the harder it can be to appreciate subtle flavors. Switching to more natural sweeteners can help reset your taste buds, making fruits and vegetables more flavorful and satisfying. This transition doesn't have to be stressful or overwhelming. It can be a gradual process of discovering what tastes good and feels right in your unique body. So how can you start putting this into action today? If you're at a high level of commitment, you might go through your kitchen cabinets and replace refined sugar with 1 or 2 new sweetener options. Or maybe you'd prefer a moderate commitment. Pledge to try a new sweetener once a day for the next week, maybe in your coffee, oatmeal, or yogurt. If you're more cautious, simply watch your sugar consumption more closely and experiment with a small container of something new, like monk fruit sweetener or coconut sugar, to see if it resonates with you. Each of these choices reflects a different level of engagement, and all are worthwhile steps forward. Regardless of where you land, know that you're not stuck. Your age doesn't define your choices. Every day you have a chance to shape the way you feel, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, through the small but significant decisions you make around food. As someone who's worked with many older adults on improving their nutrition, I've seen time and again that it's never too late to make a positive change. Even if you've relied on sugar for decades, your body and taste buds can adapt to new patterns faster than you might expect. In parting, I want to emphasize that these alternatives aren't miracle cures, but rather tools that can enhance your overall health strategy. By choosing honey, stevia, monk fruit, date sugar, or coconut sugar in place of refined sugar, you're likely to experience more stable energy, less dramatic swings in blood sugar, and perhaps even improved mood and mobility. You might find yourself more motivated to go for a short walk or to engage in your favorite hobbies. It's the cumulative effect of all these small changes that makes the biggest difference. If you found value in this conversation, consider sharing these insights with friends or family members who might also benefit. Leave a comment about which sweetener you're most excited to try, or if you've already experimented with one, let us know how it went. And if you're ready for a deeper dive into healthy aging strategies, check out more of our community resources on balanced meals, gentle exercise routines, and mindful living techniques. Think of these resources as stepping stones to a more empowered, vibrant chapter in life. By taking charge of your diet in small but meaningful ways, you're already honoring the wisdom and experience you've gained through the years. You have every reason to look forward with hope and excitement to the many satisfying meals and sweet moments yet to come.